And if you look at this quarterback draft class this year, we've talked about it before, some people might consider it disappointing because it's not the same people that we all thought it would be week one. It's not the same people. Like, atop of the draft board, you're not seeing Aller. You're not seeing Nussmeier. You're not seeing Klubnik, Sellers. You're not seeing Arch Manning. You're not seeing all these guys. So to the general public, it's a disappointing draft class. And prior to the season starting, you could have realistically said that there could be 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. It could be 5. And all those guys I just mentioned, you could have made an argument for 6 even, if you really wanted to. You could have 5 to 6 quarterbacks get drafted in the first round this year. That was prior to the season starting. Right now, as we sit here, following conference championship week and pre-bowl season, there is 3 guys that are going to get drafted in the first round, if they all come out. So you go from 5 to 3, that's not a massive drop-off. It's not the guys you were expecting to be atop the draft board, but I wouldn't call that a disappointment, if that makes sense. Is it what you wanted? No, but sometimes the things you want aren't the best for you. Because I don't know. I would not classify this as disappointing. I think there's a good amount of depth in this draft class. There's a lot of people that could go back, but I think the depth here is very solid. And again, in this week, we only talk about 3 quarterbacks because only 3 quarterbacks played at conference championship weekend. So there's not a lot of movement apart from the top of the board. But we'll go through that. I don't have any honorable mentions here because there's no honorable mention. No one else played, really, in conference championship week. Like, the guys that we usually have in the honorable mention section didn't play because they weren't in the conference championship game. We'll talk about that in the playoff. Remember what we did last year was we wait till all the playoff games, all the bowl games get done, or when all those quarterbacks get done playing, and then we'll do another blog post at the end for the final rankings. Like we did that last year, I'm going to do the same thing this year. And prior to the draft starting, we do a top 15. Like, we'll do all that stuff again. So this is the final rankings of this point in the year, but we'll have them back in January at some point. But there's no honorable mention section this week. In the top 7, or first 4 guys I'll mention here are the same guys as last week. So Klubnik at 10, you got Josh Hoover at 9, you got John Mateer at 8, Carson Beck at 7, and then Darian Mensah is at number 6. And Darian Mensah, I don't want to be... I said this last week with Dante Moore. When Dante Moore went into Washington, went into Seattle, put up some great numbers, made some great throws throughout the course of the game to help the Ducks beat up on their rival. And I said after that game that was the best game Dante Moore had played all season. This is the best game Darian Mensah played all year. And what's so funny to think about is that numbers-wise, you wouldn't look at this game and go like, oh, yeah, this is the best game Darian Mensah played all season. Because if you just look strictly at the numbers, he threw for 196 yards, had 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like against Clemson, he threw for 360 yards, had 4 touchdowns, no picks, and they won 46-45 on the road against Clemson. Like, you look at a game like that and go, that's the best game he's had all year. But if you look at from the throws that he was making at the time he was making these throws, I can make a very good case that those 196 and 2 touchdowns and the interception are better than the 361, 4 touchdowns, no picks against Clemson. I could make an argument. And looking at the course of this game, like, we'll start off with the interception, I guess. We'll start with the negative things. We'll get that out of the way. The interception was not great. I'm not going to sit here and go like, oh, it was a good interception. There's no such thing as a good interception. There's unfortunate interceptions. I wouldn't classify this as an unfortunate one either, because Mensah drops back in the shotgun, obviously. He's trying to hold the middle linebacker in the middle of the field. He's keeping his eyes down the middle, trying to hold that linebacker, but he doesn't see the outside linebacker drift out to the flat, and when he throws it, not only is it late, it's behind, and the linebacker makes a very easy interception. He tried to hold the one guy inside, he didn't even see the guy on the outside, and he jumped the route, made an easy interception. Like, would I call it unfortunate? No, but it does stink that he just didn't see him, and maybe that's on him. That's on him. I'm not trying to deflect blame or anything on this. He didn't see him at all, and it wound up being a very easy interception for Virginia. They scored, I believe, 3 plays later. So we got from bad to worse like that because the interception happened, 3 plays later, touchdown, game's tied, 7-7. But other than that, other than the interception, Darian Mensah made some massive plays for Duke on 3rd and 4th down. And you can say that throughout the course of the season, that he's been one of the better risers in college football in regards to when the time is tough, when you're down in distance is not favorable, whether it's third down or fourth down, he is a guy that always goes up. He very rarely, I'm not saying he's perfect, but very rarely has he had a moment on third and fourth down where he hasn't been able to make a play for the offense to help them extend the drive. Very rare has that happened. And in this game, you look at the opening drive of the game. I mean, they put together a 15-play drive to start the game. Like a 15-play drive that took, I think, less than 5 minutes. And they had a fourth down conversion in here. He's got Landon King, his tight end, lined up in the line of scrimmage. And he holds the defender inside. It's an RPO, so he pulls it. Defender stalls just enough to give him just a big enough window to fire it into King, who he's able to fit it in. But prior to the defender recovering and the defender from over top making a play on it, he does a very good job of just fitting it right in that window for a first down. 16-yard gain on 4th and 2. That's a great throw. Tight window throw that you love seeing your quarterback make. He had a 35-yard to Samir Hagens in there as well. He had single coverage top of the field. Safety creeps over to the right. Holds him off just long enough to creep him over to the right, so he has one-on-one coverage on the outside. Tosses a beautiful ball again, 3rd and 14. Beautiful throw to Samir Hagens. You have a 30-yard pass to Cooper Barkate. This one's second down, but down the sideline again, great throw. Great throw. This one's to the near sideline. Then you look at again, 30-yard pass to Barkate again. This one's first down, but still. The beautiful deep balls that he's making down the field are just pinpoint. This one's a back shoulder throw as well. The one to Barkate. Back shoulder throw, get them all the way down to the 3-yard line. Chandler Morris throws an interception, first play for Duke, 30-yard pass to get them down to the 3-yard line. Now, they had to settle for a field goal, which is annoying, but the throw there was massive there. Back shoulder throw. 15-yard pass to Barkate as well, later in the game. This one's in the 4th quarter, I believe, or 3rd quarter, I can't remember. But it's a nice 15-yard pass to Cooper Barkate. And these kind of plays, again, third down that we talked about before, those are the types of money-making plays that you need to see from your quarterback. And you saw that numerous times throughout the course of the game. Steps up in the pocket, or he steps up to the left, defender's in his face, he reverses out to the left, defender again, right in his face, pulls out to the right, makes another defender miss, fires it down the field. Barkate's wide open, but to make the play in general is impressive enough. Like, those are the types of plays. Those are big-time plays. It's not the throws down the field, like the 30 to 38-yard pass that he had to Hagens and Barkate earlier, but it's his ability to make something out of nothing. The ad-lib ability of Mensah is very underrated because he doesn't run the ball that much. He doesn't like getting hit. He's a very good athlete, but he has negative something rushing yards. I think negative 53 rushing yards in the season, which a lot of that goes down to sacks. It's not like he's just running around aimlessly backwards. He's getting sacked, but he can move. We saw his first rushing touchdown of the season last week against Wake Forest. And you look at his touchdown he had in overtime to Hazley. Like, the ability to buy time and give them an option. It's not his first read. Like, he's rolling out to his right, and he's looking to hit the receiver in the flat. But then Hazley opens up in the middle of the field, and he throws it back to the middle. That's a 4th down conversion right there. So you have 2 4th down conversions, one for 16 yards and one's a touchdown. I know it's only a 1-yard touchdown, but keeping the play alive and then finding your tight end in the middle of the field while your eyes aren't even in that direction is a big play for Mensah. And I think that there's a conversation about him going back to school this year. I could see a reality where he decides to go. Like, does he have an absolute howitzer of an arm? Not necessarily. But when you don't have a big-time arm, your timing has to be perfect. And more often than not, Mensah's timing is right there. Right there. He doesn't put he'll put air underneath the ball, but what we've been critical about with Carson Beck, Mensah doesn't put as much air on it, so there's not as much loft. So if you don't have a massive big-time arm like Sorsby or Maava or something like that, you need to time these up and not put as much air underneath it. And Mensah throws a beautiful deep ball. And he's a good athlete. He doesn't run the ball a lot. He doesn't want to run the ball because he's got a good enough arm to make plays down the field. But I could see a reality where he comes out this year. I could really see a reality. In this ACC championship game, beating Virginia in overtime, like, they played better in the 4th quarter against Virginia the first time they played, and they carried that momentum into this game. And other ACC champs. And do they deserve a chance to be in the college football playoff? No, but that would have been hilarious if they did make it for a Power 4 conference champ to be in there. That would have been absolutely hilarious if Duke was allowed to go in. There was no chance they were going to, but it would have been funny if they did. But Mensa comes in at 6, Sorsby at 5, we have Maava at 4, Ty Simpson at 3. Ty Simpson was my number 1 in these rankings from week 7 all the way to week 13. And slowly he has dropped down to number 3. He dropped down to 2 last week following Dante Moore's performance against Washington. Now he's dropped down to 3. Ty Simpson was not good in this game against Georgia, but nobody from Alabama was good. And I will give Ty Simpson some grace because there are some throws that he had that could have wound up with more impressive touchdowns than the one that he had, which the one that he had was he hit Jeremy Bernard out of the backfield, and Jeremy Bernard made people miss and scored a 23-yard touchdown or something. I can't remember the exact down and distance. I think it was 23-yard touchdown. But the throw he had the previous play to Ryan Williams was the play that should have been a touchdown, and it was an inch-perfect throw to the outside. Perfect deep ball down the field. Hit him right in the spot where he needed to. Defender wasn't even looking at the ball, and Ryan Williams high points the ball. It's in the perfect spot, and Ryan Williams just can't come down with it. I don't know what's going on with Ryan Williams this year, but for whatever reason, his hands have been wildly inconsistent. And that's being generous. They've been wildly inconsistent. And I hope he's able to figure that out next year because he obviously can't go up for the draft this year. But that's going to be a big knock on him when he comes out if it's not improved upon going into next season. But he did get a touchdown to Jeremy Bernard. Then he had a throw to Jeremy Bernard later in the game, last drive of the game, makes a few people miss. Like we talked about Darian Mensa's play, makes people miss, rolls out to his right, fires it into the end zone for Jeremy Bernard, bounces off Bernard's chest and falls incomplete. It was a great individual effort from Simpson, and yet his receiver wasn't able to bring it in. So those are plays where you can look at for Simpson and go, oh, he should have had a better game than what he did. But those are 2 individual plays. Those are just 2. And one of them, he ended up throwing a touchdown in the next play anyways. So if you want to be in the grand scheme of things, you go like, well, they wouldn't have been that much different. Yeah, they wouldn't have. But I just wanted to point those 2 individual plays out. It's like, oh, he did make a couple good throws throughout the game. But he was so inconsistent this game. Like his interception that he had, high throw. I think he was trying to hit Williams across the middle of the field, high throw, easy pick. Like he was missing throws that he doesn't normally miss. You can look at the game against Eastern Illinois as well. The first interception of the game, high throw. Or no, not yet. What? No, the defender was blocking. He didn't even see the receiver or see the defender. Sorry, he didn't even see the defender. I mean, I'm misremembering the interception. But high throw. And look at the game against Auburn last week. Missing on throws. Inconsistent. He didn't put up good numbers last week. He had 3 touchdowns in the game, but he went I can't remember the exact numbers, 15 to 35 for 122 yards. I can't remember the exact numbers in there, but not consistent enough at all. And what the crazy thing about Ty Simpson is that his pocket mobility and pocket awareness is some of the best in college football, even though he only has 13 starts to his name. Like you look at his throw, he had a 21-yard pass to Caleb Edwards late in the third quarter, 10 seconds ago, final play of the quarter. It was their first down since the first half or something like that. It was some crazy stretch where they didn't get a first down. And he steps up in the pocket, slides up in the pocket, hits the open receiver for, again, a 21-yard gain. And that's what separated him, for the most part, out of every other quarterback in this draft class. And some of the throws that he was able to make, you look at the game against Missouri as a good example of that. At some of the throws that he was making, you're like, oh my God. I think it was Jeremy Bernard he hit along the sideline. I think it was Bernard. I can't remember exactly. But throws like that where calmly steps up, delivers a strike down the field. He's fearless when it comes to throwing the ball down the field. But the pocket awareness is now started to get a little waney. The passes across the middle of the field are starting to sail on him a little bit. And the only thing that I can think of with that is that now people know what you are. Because prior to the Georgia game, I don't think a lot of people realized how good Ty Simpson was. Like, they knew he was a 5-star, but his last 2 years at Alabama, he couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe, who was as inconsistent as they come as a thrower. Great athlete, strong arm, all that stuff, but as inconsistent as they come as a thrower, and wasn't somebody that Kalen DeBoer really would build his offense around. Ty Simpson, we said that before the season started. Ty Simpson is a guy that you could look at, could run Kalen DeBoer's offense and what Kalen DeBoer wants to do more than Jalen Milroe does. And Jalen Milroe, talent-wise, has more talent than Simpson, in regards to, again, arm strength and mobility, size, everything, talent-wise. But Simpson's a better quarterback than Jalen Milroe. The problem is now that people have seen you play. Now people are knowing what to look for and what to expect and scheme up against you, especially teams like Georgia, especially teams like Auburn, who are good. Auburn is nowhere near Georgia, but they're not a horrifically bad football team. And it's the Iron Bowl. Anything can happen in that game. Oklahoma, same thing. Oklahoma's better than, okay, you got to find the gaps here, but Oklahoma's a good defense. When you're playing these good defense, now they know your tendencies. Now they know what you're good at and not good at. So now they're going to start forcing your hand to the not good side of things. Like, you're catching people off guard. You're making throws that are really impressive. You're making throws that no one has seen because they didn't know anything about you prior to this game. And now you're balling out. South Carolina, he didn't have a great game against South Carolina either. And those inconsistencies, or that inexperience, I guess I should say, is starting to show a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the overarching theme here, because I still think he's a very good quarterback that can make some really good throws, and if he went out, he'd still be a first-round draft pick. But that inexperience makes it a little nervous to get him with the top pick in the draft, like he would have had probably 4 weeks ago, where you would have felt comfortable having him atop the draft board. But right now, you can't look at him and go like, dude, you're kind of making me nervous right now. And a month ago, I would have sat here and gone, yeah, he's good to go to the NFL. His pocket awareness and all that stuff is so much better than what it should be at this point in time, given the limited number of starts. He can make that transition easily. Maybe not be a starter week 1, but be a guy you could look at and go to, oh yeah, he's comfortable making these kind of throws and these types of decisions because his awareness and movement is better than everybody else that's existed who has had that limited number of starts. I'm not comparing him to everybody out there. I'm talking about just in that specific niche of 13 starts. Because if you're looking at that time frame, you're looking at Trubisky and Anthony Richardson and a couple other quarterbacks in there. But if I'm comparing Ty Simpson to those guys, yeah, he's much further along than those guys were in regards to processing and mobility and awareness. In regard to pocket mobility, Anthony Richardson mobility and Trubisky mobility are more mobile than Simpson. I'm talking about pocket mobility. But right now, and there's always that fear as well of having guys with limited number of starts and how good they can be at the next level, because transitioning-wise, it's not that easy. You don't really see a lot of guys that transition to the NFL and start right away or are successful right away who have that limited number of starts. It's very rare. So that was going to be a knock on him anyways. But now that he's showing these flashes of inconsistencies and some nervousness of the inexperience that he has, that makes it a little bit more nervous. So now I'm sitting like, he went from a guaranteed first-round pick to now I'm like, I wouldn't be upset if he went back to school another year. That's kind of where my mind is at right now. And because I think him being the top of the draft board's done. I think that part's done. Unless he goes on an insane Jeremy Lin-style, Will Howard-esque run in the college football playoff. Because Will Howard, he was a guy that you had conversations about being a top 10 guy, but then when the draft process all ended, he was a top 5, top 6 guy in the class. Like, that's the trajectory that he went on because he kept performing better and better and better. Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame just made big-time throws throughout the course of that playoff run. It was widely considered to be one of the better quarterbacks in the draft class. Ty Simpson, I'm not saying is at that point. He's way better than Will Howard was at that point. But like if he gets good performance against Oklahoma and then Indiana and then Texas Tech or then the national champion, I don't know who, Georgia, then yeah, then we can talk about him again being the number 1 quarterback in the draft class. But right now, he's comfortably 3. I don't think he's moving down anytime soon, but he's definitely not moving up at this point. So we'll have to wait and see. But number 2 and 1, I've toyed back and forth with this 1,000 freaking times. I went back and forth with this. And Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza are number 1 and 2. I moved Fernando Mendoza up to number 1. And the main reason I did that is it was so funny to look back and go like, man, I had Dante Moore at number 1 after what he did against Washington. And then at 1 week, his first week of the season being number 1, I dropped him down to number 2. And the main reason why that was the case, of why I dropped him down, it had nothing to do with him, obviously. But some of the plays Mendoza was making against the best defense, arguably, in college football was really impressive. And what I think the most impressive thing about Mendoza, other than some of like the back shoulder throws that he can make or how confident he is throwing down the field, is his toughness, is that he's not afraid to get shot and bounce back. Like, he got hit first play of the game, knocked out for a play or a few plays, rocked, still completed the pass to Elijah Surratt. And you look at the game against Iowa, where Montgomery was running down the middle of the defense, smacking him in the mouth, and he's still hitting seam balls to Elijah Surratt down the field. Like, no quarterback likes to get hit. No player likes getting hit unless they're a sociopath. No one likes getting smacked in the mouth. But you may not like it, but how do you do when you know it's happening or know it's going to come? You know you're going to get hit in the mouth. How do you react to knowing you're going to get hit in the mouth? Do you just tuck the ball and fall over because you know you're going to get hit? Are you just trying to protect yourself? Or do you stand tall and fire the ball down the field? And that's what Mendoza does. Talk about that against Iowa. He did this in the Big Ten Championship game. Again, first play of the game, gets rocked. 9-yard pass to Elijah Surratt, gets rocked. Out for the game for a few plays. He has a 10-yard pass to Charlie Becker, rolls out to his left, gets hit again on third down. Gets hit again. But not afraid to stand back up and keep getting hit and keep throwing the ball down the field. And he gets intercepted. Unfortunate. Nowakowski's late to getting the block in. Ball gets hit up in the air. Defender comes down with the easy interception. It's an unfortunate play. I'm not going to really sit here. It was set up to be a screen, and it just wound up. Nowakowski couldn't get there in time. Defender again, hit the ball up. Easy interception. But you look at the throw of the 51-yard pass to Becker. Defender in his face. Third down the middle of the field. Dot. Right in stride to Becker. You look at his 17-yard touchdown pass to Elijah Surratt. Dot. You look at his 33-yard pass to Becker on the end of the game. Third down. Dot. Like, Fernando Mendoza, from a size, arm talent, mobility, toughness aspect, I think right now, and I've said this before, this isn't like some big revelation I've had over the past week, is that he'd be the number one overall pick. He'd be the first quarterback taken in the draft. As much as I had Ty Simmons as number one, I always came back to I think Mendoza is more likely to get drafted first overall out of the quarterbacks. And now I'm more confident saying that. And I think Dante Moore is a massive talent. And I think will be one pick behind Fernando Mendoza. I think right now you'd probably guess they're the first two picks in the draft. Someone trades up to get Mendoza, and then Dante Moore's right there at number 2. That would be the guess right now. But the thing that made me ultimately put Fernando Mendoza above Dante Moore was not just the throws that he made. It was, again, the toughness of not being afraid to take hits. Dante Moore does not like getting hit. And Dante Moore, in some of those instances where he has to step up in the pocket and get hit, you look at the Indiana game, he threw back-to-back interceptions on back-to-back drives. Those are the types of plays that I think I'm going to give Mendoza the slight edge in. I'm not sitting here calling Dante Moore a pussy or anything. I'm not saying that at all. But I think Mendoza responds more and is calmer knowing that he's going to get hit. Responds better, to knowing he's going to get hit than Dante Moore does. That's ultimately what pushed Mendoza to number 1 over Dante Moore. And it does also help. We're talking about head-to-head in college football playoff. Fernando Mendoza played better than Dante Moore when they played. I know they didn't face each other directly because wins are not a quarterback stat. I'm not saying that. But Fernando Mendoza played better in that game than Dante Moore did. So Dante Moore, I dropped down for that and because of the hits Mendoza was taking, still remaining to deliver the ball down the field. And it helps that it happened against Ohio State as well. So I moved Mendoza to 1, but Dante Moore, if I kept him at 1, I wouldn't have been upset either. Dante Moore is a really worthy guy to be number 1 as well. So those are the top 10. Again, only 3 names to really mention here. Darian Mensah at 6, Ty Simpson 3, Fernando Mendoza at 1. We'll have a mock draft coming out for you. I don't know when exactly, but we'll try to get something figured out for you soon with a mock draft. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the rankings. That's all I really want, is that you enjoy the rankings. Just please let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. And if you're watching the YouTube video, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on the YouTube channel. And also make sure to check out the blog post as well at theloganblackmanshow.com for more in-depth analysis for our Week 15 quarterback prospect rankings.